nerds, what's up? I'm here to discuss 13 Reasons Why, because the Netflix original came out at the end of March. It is now mid-April and I have already watched it. I watched it actually like in the weekend that it came out, or like that week, I guess, so like shortly after it came out. I already filmed this and then the microphone didn't pick up my voice. So if that happens again, I'm gonna be so mad. So if you guys haven't seen the show yet, I just want to say that it's amazing. There's some severe trigger warnings for sexual assault and suicide, as well as self-harm. So if you don't want to watch it, completely understand, but it's so good and just so detrimental to the heart, and I cried a lot. Oh my god, it was so good. I highly recommend, and I really want to rewatch it, but I don't want to rewatch it right now because I don't want to. It sounds too sad right now. And let's just get right on into some spoilers now. So bye non-spoilery people. If you happen to have seen the movie but you haven't read the book, I don't think you'll have too much issues with this because I haven't read the book in such a long time that I don't remember everything that's different, and so I won't really be going into any of that. Before we get away from the book, that they added more time within the show, because in the book I know it takes place in like one night. He just listens to them straight through, and I really enjoyed that we got to see and like delve into the other characters that are involved and like watch the parents. They're suing the school and get to know some of the characters that are on the tapes that aren't Clay, and like I really enjoyed kind of getting more humanization of all of these people that were involved in the tapes that Hannah made. It was such an amazing book, and they took the adaptation and they just added more greatness to it. Like everything that they did change or they did add just felt like it made it better. It made it even better because like the book was already good, and I can't get enough. I'm gonna jump all over the place just based on the notes that I have written here, but like I want to talk about the fact that they set it up for a season 2. Like I was not expecting to feel like they could go on, and they definitely could go on. I think it would be really cool, honestly, to see them take this show and maybe even kind of like an American Horror Story type thing where they didn't follow the same characters. However, there's so many cliffhangers that like you gotta keep going with these characters. Oh my god, I just don't want it to turn into a Degrassi. But anyway, they kept us in the like hanging with who was shot at the very end. There's you know that someone's in the ambulance and it's gotta be one of our characters, but we don't know who, and they even like show our characters afterwards, and then it turns out that it was Alex. I want to talk about the Tyler setup, because there's that scene where you watch Tyler buy a gun off some guy in an alley, and then you have Alex who's been shot, and so you think maybe that has something to do with each other. But now that the show has ended and I've watched the whole thing, I don't think that Tyler was involved in Alex's shooting. I think that that scene where Tyler is looking at the people in the red room, in the dark room, I think that is his like list of kids he feels deserve to die and like that he's wanting to kill. But I think that with that flashback that we got of him remembering that Alex stood up for him, I think that that was him taking Alex's picture down because he realizes that he doesn't deserve to die. And then of course Alex also attempted suicide. I'm excited to see where that goes. I could easily see it going in the direction of Tyler shooting up the school, and that would be really sad, but also really just like detrimental like this first season was, and I would love to see how that gets played out, especially with now we've seen Tyler buy that gun and he has like a whole set of other guns like hidden in a fake bottom of a trunk, and like whoo. Alex was one of my favorite characters throughout this story. I think he really encompassed all of that guilt that a lot of people can feel when somebody takes their life that's in your life. I really enjoyed his story, and I found it fascinating. I don't remember where I saw this, but I read it somewhere, and it says something along the lines of like, while we were watching Hannah explain all of the signs we all missed when she was alive, we all missed the signs of Alex gonna do the same thing. And I found that like such a like painful realization that as we're watching this show, we are seeing signs. That's why I really want to rewatch it. But I didn't think about him, and no one's really thinking about Tyler, and that's why Tyler is like where he's at, and I'm really excited. excited for a season 2. I hope it happens. Justin actually had some redeeming qualities for me, and I actually ended up really liking him. I know that he did awful things. You also end up watching him feel like such intense torment and guilt for it, and I think that's what makes him redeemable. You watch him go from like kind of being in denial and not wanting it to be true because he knows he fucked up, to like finally having to realize because it's worth it to tell her what the fuck happened. That very intense moment at Bryce's house when they're all there and Justin comes up and he's like pissed off at Jessica and at Bryce, and he finally says he raped you. I was like amazed to see like him go from being so angry that there was even an inkling of maybe that's true because he doesn't want it to be true, to be able to say it like not just to Jessica but like in front of everyone. And then like you watch him have so much guilt after that. It's such a good character because there's a lot of people out there who feel like that and then who like can't come to terms, and he does come to terms, and like it's so amazing. I love that they like gave him more humanhood because you watch him be this like rock star jock that we got in the book and we're getting at the very beginning of the story, and then you kind of realize that he's hiding a lot of the shit that goes down in his everyday life with his parents, and abuse is going on and all this shit is just happening, and like getting to really get this like human from this show instead of just like a character that's like a stereotype. I really liked that too. One of the like saddest things in watching this show was falling in love with Hannah already knowing that she's dead. Like, ow! I was painful. These adorable scenes, especially like between her and Clay, and like I was watching it with my friend Bailey and we're watching it and then I'm just like, oh yeah, she's dead though, so like no happy ending here. Jeff Atkins, who figured out that he was already dead, like he was the dead one, because I did not get it at all. Completely went over my head. There's that scene, I think in episode 2, maybe 3, where I think the guidance counselor, but it might be the principal, says something along the lines of like, we've lost 2 students in 2 months, and so like this school is grieving. Me and Bailey looked at each other and we were like, 2? Who's the second one? And then we're like so intense on Hannah's story and like the tapes that I didn't even like recognize that in the like present day shots Jeff doesn't exist. Didn't see it coming, and it was so sad, and like he's such a good character. However, I do want to point out, if things were different, would Jeff be as perfect as he seems? Because we only see the past and he's not being called out for any of his shitty behavior that otherwise would be a secret, right? All of these kids are relatively perfect. All of these characters, they seem perfect. It just makes me curious, like, what was he hiding? But yeah, I love Jeff and I'm sad that he's dead. If you are not wanting to watch this, I would fast forward at least like a minute. I loved that the scenes when Bryce was raping people were hard to watch. I really loved that they did that because it made me uncomfortable, and that's kind of, I think, the point. I highly recommend watching the interview thing. It's on Netflix. It automatically started when I finished episode 13, but if you didn't watch it, it's kind of like an interview with a bunch of the cast, the producers, the 2 psychologists that they kind of like worked with to make sure that they were doing things in a good way, and we gotta talk about not the scene where Hannah actually kills herself, which was horrifying to watch. It felt very raw and terrifying and awful, but on top of that, the scene following that, when her parents find her, that was the worst scene for me. Watching her parents find her was really hard. That was, I think, the first time that I couldn't stop sobbing. I had cried a little bit before that, and like kind of like this, and then when that scene happened, hiccuping out of my sobbing, because no, it was not a fun time for me. But it was so good and awful at the same time. Last thing I want to talk about is just a general comment on the like writing and storytelling of this show, which was very thrilling and like made you have to keep watching, and I really think they did a great job with that, and it just was like obsession. Like, I couldn't stop. I thought me and Bailey were gonna watch 1 episode and we watched 5 because we couldn't stop watching, and then I went home and I was so mad because I had to go to bed because I had an event early in the morning and I couldn't keep watching, and then I had to wait until I got home from the event to watch it. There was past and present, and then sometimes Clay was like imagining something and you don't realize that it was real or fake yet, and I loved that about it too, because it was almost like an unreliable narrator, and it made you like questioning everything that you were watching, which made you just want to keep watching. And I thought that they did an amazing job with that. Like it made this show even better, because you like couldn't stop. You can't stop. You have to keep going because you have to know what the fuck's going on, and it was amazing, and I just loved it, and I loved everything about it. Comment down below if you want me to live tweet when I rewatch it eventually. I could live tweet the episodes that I watch. I want to wait long enough where that's not going to be like super annoying and spoilery yet on Twitter, and I'm not ready to watch it anyway yet, but I think I would like doing that. So let me know if you would be interested in that, which follow me on all my social media. It's always linked in the description box. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys very soon. I post every Sunday and Wednesday, so I'll see you guys next time. Bye!